So we may be one step closer tonight to learning what's really out there as the chase for UFO information on Capitol Hill is heating up. In fact, Congressman Eric Burlison of Missouri successfully passed an amendment in the House that encourages the government to renew David Grusch's security clearance. That clearance would allow the former intelligence officer to share highly sensitive information in an ultra-secure facility, what they call a SCIF. Now, Grusch told Congress in July what he told us first on NewsNation, that the government has a secret program collecting non-human UFOs, but he stopped short of getting into specifics.
You said that the government has alien bodies or alien species. Have you seen the spacecraft?
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand and not in this environment, but I could answer that question behind closed doors.
So, will Grusch divulge more information behind closed doors soon? Moments ago, I spoke to Congressman Burlison, who detailed what he hopes to learn from the whistleblower.
I think that if we can get some specifics, some specific information about what programs that he was referring to, where the locations of these devices are, where the bodies are. So I just want the specifics. Now, there is a chance that we might be able to get some of those specifics this Thursday morning. We have another meeting with the Inspector General in a SCIF, and I am told that Grusch has signed a release to allow for his report to the IG to be released. It is uncertain whether they're going to give us the actual copy of the report or let us read it in the SCIF, or whether they're just going to give us a summary. I'm afraid it's the latter. I'm afraid that they're just going to try to give us a summary, which is not going to be acceptable in my book. I want to see the document. Okay. And then I want to be able to bring Grusch in to ask questions. And if we have time to read the document, we'll be able to ask educated questions about the contents and the work that he produced.
Yeah, what do you want to know? I mean, you were skeptical, if I remember correctly, of this, and it sounds like you still have questions. You know, you want to see proof. You don't want theories. You don't want speculation. I mean, are you still fairly skeptical? Would you describe yourself that way?
Yeah, I would say that I'm still skeptical. There's nothing that has pointed me in the direction that these are, and that this has to be an alien species from another planet. I think that there are a lot of plausible explanations for the things that we're seeing. I do not discount or deny that the footage exists. I don't discount the eyewitness testimony of the pilots, the many pilots that have seen and in some cases chased these objects. I just don't want to. I'm not coming to the conclusion that what they're seeing and chasing is from another planet.
Right, and you want to see actual proof of that. It's almost like, you know, I think you used the joke here, from the show me states to show me. I want to see it for myself, which I understand. But what about the fact that it's taking all of this to get to this point? I mean, are you up against something in the government to try to, you know, block you guys in Congress from getting the information, from getting Grusch into a SCIF? I mean, what's the holdup here? What are you up against?
Yeah, I think that if we continue to get pushed on getting if we continue to get pushed on getting, Grusch into a SCIF, then I'm gonna think that there's a red flag there. Huh. However, I do think that we have to take into consideration, outside of that effort, that we may be in a scenario where there is no alien bodies. There are no spacecraft. Right. And to continue to pursue it as though, and to assume that it exists, would put us in a situation where we are today, where we have the different departments denying that they are involved in these programs, that they don't know what we're referring to. Right. That many of them will say it's not even part of their mission to work on any of these programs or to investigate them.
But to be clear, you don't think, you said there would be a red flag if you continue to get pushed, but you don't think there's the government trying to hide something or prevent more testimony? I mean, you don't see anything that suggests that yet, or?
I think that I haven't seen anything that's compelling me to believe that they're trying to deny us access. Now, to a certain extent, we have we've gotten information from the IG. We have gotten, obviously, the testimony of the whistleblower, David Grusch, and hopefully they'll be able to give us access to his report, and hopefully they'll be able to allow us to bring him into the skiff. But if we continue, if, for example, they don't allow us to see the report,
right,
they don't allow us to have access to bring Grusch into a skiff, then I'm going to start raising alarms that something has been being hidden from Congress.
All right, we'll continue to follow it as we have been. Congressman Eric Burlison, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Anytime.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.